On today's podcast, I sit down and speak with Fawn Mueller, the owner and operator of Inspired by Nature. She's a local florist, and we talked about a few things about how she operates, to her being nocturnal, to her advice about pricing and what she expects from new brides and what they can expect from her. I hope you enjoy this podcast. Fawn, if you would tell me a little bit about your background. Where are you from? What do you do? Like family-wise, kids, husband?
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
I'm originally from Appleton.
Oh, really?
I've been a florist since I've been 18, so 18 years, and 10 years on my own with Inspired by Nature.
So you started your business about 10 years ago.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And is it mostly wedding related? Do you do other events?
Yeah, I mostly take care of weddings. That's my primarily business. Other events, holiday parties, and I also assist in sympathy work.
Oh, sure. Yep. So what's the turnaround on that, sympathy work? Like, I know that because that's
Short
not planned. Yeah, that's not planned. It's not like a wedding where you know ahead of time. And I've had people ask me too if I would put like slideshows together and things like that. And I've just never got into it because I've always feared like I don't know if I'll be able to meet that deadline. That's got to be pretty stressful. Like, how do you deal with that? Do you just work all night or?
Yes. What some people don't know, well, I'll tell you, I'll let you in on a secret. I'm nocturnal.
Oh, no.
Yes.
So this is early for you then?
This is just right.
Oh, okay.
I work at night. It sounds a little crazy, but yeah, that's usually when I design my flowers. Sympathy work is about 3 or 4 day lead time.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
It all works out.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you use all locally grown flowers? And how does that work in like the winter months?
Well, as much as possible, I use locally grown flowers here in Wausau. I have a couple farmer friends that grow me certain varieties. In the winter months in Wisconsin, we're out. So that's all bought in from my wholesalers. And
different states, different
yes, California.
climates, yeah. So that's got to make it a little bit more expensive, I'm guessing.
A little bit more.
Yeah, shipping costs, everything.
Yes. But as much as I can promote the local farmer scene, the farm to table movement is where I'm at. And I take advantage of that mostly in the spring, summer, fall months. And then I mix in whatever flowers I can't get locally with my wholesaler flowers, such as roses, and I get a lot of hydrangeas out of state.
Yeah, nice.
Tropicals.
Nice. So how many weddings do you do a year, like on an average?
Oh boy. I think last year was 62.
62?
Yes.
Wow.
It's a little much for me.
Yeah, I would say.
I'd like
do
to be in the,
you have a
50.
partner? Do you have any employees that work with you, or?
My awesome husband helps out. And have you seen him?
Yeah, I think I met him when we
Adam?
had that party back last year around this time. Yeah, so he helps you set up.
He helps me set up, but I have a couple florist friends that help once in a while if I really need help with mundane kind of design.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I see that you host a couple wreath making like workshops.
Yeah.
I've seen. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
So go talk about that. What's involved in that? Are you just trying to drive business towards your wedding, or is it just something that you want to? Is this something you want to promote?
Yes.
Or you have one coming up, or?
Mostly it's in November, December, where the wreath parties are, Christmas wreaths. It's just for fun, to get people to have fun and get my name out there a little more.
Yeah, no, that
But
makes sense.
it's also a slower time of the year for me for business, so it's a good way to have extra sales during that time. I also do, during the spring and summer months, fresh flower classes, which is really popular. And people want to dabble and learn all about cutting fresh flowers and arranging in the foam and such. So I've been having some of those classes.
I really thought about going, but I was like, maybe I'd be the only guy there.
Probably.
I thought about it just because seeing the arrangements and filming the arrangements. You've done a lot of weddings that I've done. Just looking at it, I was just interested in what went into it, and then we did that style shoot last year too. Watching you put together a lot of that stuff, it did interest me because I'm like, and then we've had other conversations and where you said you've been up all night putting stuff together. And I'm just like, oh man, all for one day,
I'm a sprinter.
Yeah. I'm like, that's a lot of work for one day. And
Yeah.
I was blown away by that. Just watching the setup, when I've helped Brandon do DJ setup, because we get there at like noon sometimes to set up his stuff when I've helped them in the past, and you're there already. And I was just wondering, like, do you stick around for the entire wedding too, through the reception? What?
Oh, I wish. Then I could have cake.
Yeah, no, you just kind of come in, set up, and then do you take it down afterwards, or are they responsible for it? Or
it depends on the circumstances. If they borrowed rentals, then we come back the next day and take them.
But like the floral arrangements and stuff, we just leave them. That's theirs. Oh,
family takes them home. And
that's cool.
They enjoy them for a week afterwards.
So, what's the biggest wedding you've set up? Like, are you just local to the Wausau area? Do you travel Wisconsin? Do you go out of state?
I try not to. I'm a homebody, Scott, so I like to stay home. Yeah. And I like Wisconsin. Wisconsin weddings are where I'm at.
Perfect. Yeah, so just the outer line Wausau, or do you go to Milwaukee? Or
I prefer the Northwoods. I love the Northwoods. I'm not so much in Milwaukee. I don't like traffic. It's really stressful, and parking and all those other issues that come with big cities.
Wausau's perfect for you.
It really is. It really is. I love Wausau. I'm not leaving. But I do love the Northwoods, like Minocqua weddings, Manitowoc Waters.
I was just going to say Minocqua.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So back to, what was the biggest wedding you've ever done?
Oh, my. Probably one that was in Kohler. And that took 5 florists I worked with. That was when I was working in Appleton for the floral company. And that was a pretty heavy set. Even every chair had a little flower cluster on the back of the chair, and linens, and the American Club.
I'm not familiar, but that's probably a big venue in Appleton. Yeah. We've done one in that area. One wedding in the area was a bed and breakfast, but that's an area that we're trying to expand to. So you got all your training. Did you go to school for this? Yeah. So what does that involve? What kind of course is that?
Grueling 8-year course. No.
Really? Oh.
No. I went to the Minneapolis School of Floristry, Kohler and Drum.
Oh, nice.
It's also a wholesaler, and it's just a wonderful course. I've also taken a lot of courses on my own through the Florist Association for Wisconsin Upper Michigan Florist Association. And a lot of it is learning on the job.
Yeah.
You just have to get your hands dirty.
Yeah, that's what I found from doing wedding video and photography, and you can take a lot of watch a lot of videos or tutorials or take a class, but until you really do it, you don't understand how a wedding works or what's involved. I'm sure you're more behind the scenes, but you deal with clients just like I do, and you have the mom and the dad, and how many client meetings do you have before the actual day? Like how
for each wedding, it's usually 3 to 4 is average.
Yeah, and then do you have some sort of photo book that you show examples to them, or?
Yeah, I used to print pictures. Now it's all online.
You just do it right on a tablet, or?
Yep. Facebook.
I was going through your website, and you have a nice example on that, and Pinterest too. Mm-hmm. So those
Instagram,
are great tools.
Lot. And you know what's so nice about the explosion of all these websites is
social media. Yeah.
Brides are prepared for their meetings. They do countless hours of homework before I meet them. And so I have an idea of what they like when they come to the meeting. It's not anymore. When I started, it was opening books and looking at books. And And now they look at it at home and they come to me and they pretty much know what they want.
Yeah. That's great. So you like them being more prepared in this type of...
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So what sets you apart, I guess, from other florists?
Well, I consider my designs art. And they're really intricate. Some people have described them as cottage, elegant, romantic.
Yeah. You have a definite, distinct style from
Yes.
what I've seen and what I've experienced firsthand and seen in photos too. I saw that you did a couple, you do styled shoots a lot, I've noticed.
I love them.
Yeah.
It's a way to push trends and just be creative and not have any boundaries.
And no time schedule either.
Right.
It's a wedding without the wedding. That's what I liked. Last one that I saw you did with Natasha, who I'm trying to have as a guest as well on the podcast, and I like that. That was like some sort of vow renewal.
Oh, anniversary shoot.
Anniversary shoot.
Yeah,
Okay, sure.
And the bride and groom own alpacas.
Oh yes. So I saw that. Yeah.
I had a little alpaca foot cuffs and halos and wreaths for these animals, and they kicked them off.
Oh no.
Yeah, so they're really not even in the pictures, but I had them all decked out.
I remember the mini horse that we had for the shoot we did with Jody, and the bride, she was holding your bouquet, and the mini horse just kept eating it.
Oh goodness.
he's eating the flowers off. It was pretty funny.
Well, that's good because a lot of times I work with organic flowers, so that's helpful in case your horse eats them.
So getting back to like the months of the year, what do you make any suggestions on what flowers people would want, or is it just mainly they know before coming in, or is it like, oh, we're getting married in September, and you go, well, locally these flowers are available at this time, like sunflowers I think are in that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And do you try to persuade them in one way or another, or is it just like, whatever they want?
It's usually whatever they want. And then I do a little steering, yes.
Yeah.
If there's a flower unavailable, I'm very upfront and I say, it's not going to be there. It's not available.
Yeah.
Like tulips in September can't happen.
Yeah.
So I have lots of other suggestions and I work with the brides.
They usually give you like a color palette.
Oh, yes. That's the easiest way to go about floral design and that's when I really have fun, is when the bride gives me a color scheme and I roll with it. And I know the colors of the gowns and a few things that she likes. That's when my designs are the best.
What do you do when, like, say, like the room we're in right now is pretty dreary? What do you do with like a venue that, is really dark? We're in an office right now. It's all cinder block. We have a couple lights on.
Yeah.
But what do you suggest? I mean, they obviously know their venue before they come to you. So like Stony Creek, for instance, this can be a pretty dark environment. What do you suggest? Do you suggest a lot of lighter colors to try to bring up the mood, or like, or does it really go with like, do you try to go off the person's personality?
Yeah, off of their likes and dislikes, yes. And uplighting is wonderful, I think, for those darker rooms with like
Stony Creek, yeah, definitely.
Uplighting is wonderful, and candles. I love candles, so it kills me a little bit when I don't see a candle on a table around my flowers.
Oh wow!
They just kind of need a few candles to brighten it up.
Do you supply the candles or no?
Sure.
Yeah, you'll do that. Cool. So, I remember way back from my my wedding when I had a reception. My wife wanted the cake decorated with a certain like floral pattern, and the venue kind of had a little bit of an issue with that because we got the cake from them too. They said we won't put anything on the cake, is that something that you've run across and you actually will step in and design the cake, or do you want the cake brought to you?
Oh gosh, no. Sorry, I don't transport cakes.
No. Well, I'm not saying that you would transport it, but like, the cake decorator, the baker would bring it to you, you would finish the design, and then they would deliver it, or...
That's typically how it goes, is the cake designer brings the cake to the venue, and that is the last piece I do, because they're without water. So before I design the cake flowers, which I prefer to do, that's the last thing I do. But I like taking care of that. And I just think that it adds a lot to a basic cake design.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Definitely.
And yeah, I think they're less expensive than the
edible ones.
The edible ones, yeah. They're pretty.
And probably better for you too if you actually ate them.
Right.
Less sugar.
Yeah.
So in your do you have like a package structure? Do you charge by the hour? Do you, like, I know you work like all night, so do you charge by the hour? Do you charge by the piece? Or is it just like a certain amount of people? How do you structure your you don't have to give me prices, but
Sure.
Like packages and everything?
No packages, because everyone's all different. But I do have on my website, under Invest, I have a price range that will help any bride ahead of time know what to expect for costs, like a range. Somewhere in the middle is pretty average, is what I see a lot. So bridal bouquets are usually $200. Boutonnieres are usually $15. Bridesmaid bouquets are $90 usually. Sometimes less, sometimes more. Depends what they pick out. And so everything's tailored to what they pick out. Cool. And how bunched up the flowers are. If they want really lush and full, or just sparse with more greenery. It all depends on those elements.
So going back to, you said you did like 67 weddings. Was that,
like that?
I can't remember what we said before, but how far in advance are you booking out now with people?
I'm booking 2020. 2020. I'm not entertaining 2021.
Not yet.
It's hard to say that.
2021. Well, I thought we'd be flying in cars by now.
Oh yeah,
right?
Justin style.
Yeah.
No, but I still actually have a couple prime dates for 2019 open, so I encourage people to still reach out.
Which dates?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
I don't have my calendar right here,
okay.
but there's a couple really good ones open yet.
Yeah, if you want to give them to me, I can put that in the show notes. I'll help you with that. So, like, do you charge overtime?
Well, no. My whole job is overtime. So if I get a lot of my flowers on a Wednesday and then some more trickle in on Thursday, I'm working Wednesday through Thursday, Friday, 16-hour days on concrete on my feet. No overtime. It's not really like that. So all my labor is built into the pieces.
Your price and everything.
Right.
That's
like
great.
The bridal bouquet at $200. There's labor in there.
Yeah.
I only charge extra for setup, placement, delivery. That's more time, and that's $50 an hour from where I leave my studio into
for the setup.
Most weddings are 2 to 4 hours additional setup.
So, I know you said that brides are fairly prepared nowadays. What would be one thing that you always run into that they're not prepared on?
Oh, good question. Budget. A lot of brides have never done this before. Mm-hmm. So they have no idea how much flowers cost. That's why I have on my website the price range, which is helpful. And also, yeah, it's just budget. Be honest with the budget. I think that's the most helpful tool, because if I know the budget is $2,000 or $1,200, I'm not going to suggest these really ornate designs.
Yeah.
They
really come in with their Pinterest board, and it's this huge crown that I've seen they've worn, and the the IVs running up and down their dress, and that's not going to be a $1,000 budget. That's going to be a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a realist.
Yeah.
And also a whimsical dreamer at the same time. But I like to be real with brides and be honest with my pricing.
Have you ever had to turn anybody away?
Oh, many times.
Yeah, because they weren't prepared for the budget.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and right. My designs are so loaded and intricate that if I took away from how my styles are and made them less, then I don't feel like they'd be truly my designs.
Yeah, perfect. That's a great way to describe it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, is there anything else that you'd like to plug or talk about? Or
I am really excited to announce something. We are blessed to be able to build a new studio.
Oh, cool.
So on our property, we're building an all-new studio, which I can have my clients at.
Yes.
And it's going to have a walk-in cooler, a meeting space. It's going to have... it's more exciting for me than the brides because it's going to be a better working environment. More table space. And big back window that can look out my backyard and see my kids running around. And
yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about doing this podcast there, but it doesn't exist yet.
Not yet, but it will.
maybe next time.
Yes.
I would love to do that. That'd be cool.
Yes. And with that, we're getting all new rentals. I already have a lot of new rentals.
Oh, wow.
And everything's on my Pinterest page.
Are you documenting it?
Yes.
Like as it comes along and
I will
pictures and everything?
Yes. We're waiting for the snow to go away and the thaw, and then we can, do the cement thing.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. I'll be interested to see that. I like, my guilty pleasure is looking up things like that on YouTube, like a time lapse of it. You see it as it being built.
I'd love to have you do a promo video.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So people can see my workspace.
Yes. We'll definitely talk about that. That would be awesome. So I think we covered everything. So thank you for joining me.